Hi, students, and welcome to today's lesson. I'm Ms. Albina. Today, we will use data to help us solve a fossil mystery. Are you ready? Grab your pencil and your science journal, and let's get started. After our last lesson, I started thinking about how paleontologists are a little like detectives. Both paleontologists and detectives seek and analyze evidence to learn more about events that happened in the past. After our last lesson, you had the chance to think like a detective. I asked you to use evidence that we collected to make a claim about this fossil and this fossil model. What claim did you make? Did the evidence support the claim that the fossil and the fossil model were formed by the same butterfly or by different butterflies? Because you are excellent detectives, you might have already figured out that this fossil and this fossil model were made by different butterflies. But remember, we are practicing our skills at finding and analyzing evidence to support our claims. We found our first piece of evidence that different butterflies made these impressions when we compared the measurements and saw that the length of two wings, the upper and the lower wing, and the width of one wing were different. When we made other observations, we noticed that these butterfly impressions don't even look very much alike. Clever detectives that you are, you may have realized that the impression on the right was made with a plastic butterfly. I'll show you how I did it. This time, I'm making an impression of a toy lizard's footprint, but it's the same process. I simply press the lizard's foot into the modeling clay. See how it leaves nice, clear footprints? I did the same thing with the butterfly toy to make an impression. Of course, using plastic toys to make fossil models has some limitations. Let's look more carefully at the model I made. We know that scientists often make models to study phenomena. Remember, the real butterfly fossil formed over several years, when a real butterfly left an impression in rock. I made my model in about 30 seconds. Also, I made my model using clay and plastic butterflies, not a real butterfly and a rock. So now that we know that our real fossil and our fossil model were made by different butterflies, let's see whether we can solve another mystery. It's actually a little embarrassing, but I forget which butterfly I used to make this model. Can you help me figure it out? Here's the clay model fossil that I made, and here are the plastic toy butterflies that I just showed you. I know I used one of these butterflies to make the impression. How do you think we can find out which plastic butterfly was used to make the clay fossil model? Did you say we should take measurements like we did last time? I absolutely agree. I've made 3 impressions in modeling clay by using 3 different plastic butterflies. We can measure the different impressions with the centimeter side of a ruler, and then compare the new measurements with the measurements of our original clay fossil model. That'll help us figure out which plastic butterfly I used to make my model. Right now, I'd like you to make a prediction about which butterfly is correct. Then we'll use observations and evidence to see if you're right. Now it's time to take some measurements. This is the impression created by using butterfly 1, the yellow butterfly. We'll take the same measurements that we did last time: the wingspan, the length and width of the body, the length of 2 wings, the top wing and the bottom wing, and the width of 1 wing. Of course, we'll measure in centimeters. Okay, so The wingspan of this butterfly is 4.5 centimeters. I'll record that here. The length of the body is 2 centimeters. The width of the body is, that's just 0.5 centimeter. Now the length of 2 wings from the top of the top wing to the bottom of the bottom wing is 3.5 centimeters. And last but not least, the width of one wing is, that's 2.5 centimeters. I used the same process to measure the impressions of butterfly 2, the blue butterfly, and butterfly 3, the brown butterfly. So for comparison, here are the measurements of our original clay model, next to the measurements of plastic toy butterfly impressions 1, 2, and 3. What do you notice about these data? Which butterfly do you think may have made the impression in my model? Can you eliminate any of the butterflies on the basis of their measurements? Maybe get us a little closer to solving our mystery? I notice that the body length and body width are the same for all the butterflies. But take a look at the wingspan. I see some differences. The original clay fossil model's wingspan is 5 centimeters. Do you see which butterflies have the same measurement? If you see them, point at your screen. Yes, butterfly 2 and butterfly 3 have the same wingspan. Butterfly 1, however, has a different wingspan. Since butterfly 1 has a different measurement, can it have been the one that I used to make the original fossil model? Nope. We can eliminate that one. Let's look at the length of 2 wings and the width of 1 wing. We already eliminated butterfly number 1, so let's see about butterfly 2 and butterfly 3. The clay fossil model's length of 2 wings is 5 centimeters, and butterfly 2's is 4.5 centimeters. Since those don't match, we can eliminate that one as well. Let's check butterfly 3. The length of 2 wings for butterfly 3 is the same as the fossil model, and it also matches the fossil model for the width of 1 wing. So butterfly 3, the brown butterfly, is looking pretty likely as the butterfly I used to make this impression. I'm almost ready to make a claim that the brown butterfly is the butterfly that I used to make the original clay model. But I need more evidence. It's important to remember that some observations can't be described with numbers, and we need to double-check our data before we make our claim. Let's make some other observations and see whether they support our claim. I notice a thin, smooth body with no stripes and 4 wings that have extensions or pointy tips. I also very clearly see 2 long lines coming out of the head and 6 legs. Let's record those observations and then look at them side by side with the observations we made of our original clay model. They are exactly the same. Did we solve the mystery? Let's look back at all of our evidence and check one more time before we get too excited. I noticed not only were our other observations the same, but the measurements for that clay fossil model all match the original one too. So which butterfly made the impression in my original fossil model? Did you say butterfly 3? That's what the evidence shows. It shows that I used butterfly number 3 to create the original fossil model. Does this outcome match your prediction from earlier? Thanks to your help and the use of data and evidence, we solved this mystery together. Nice work, detectives. I mean, paleontologists. So, what did our clay fossil model tell us about the plastic butterflies that formed them? Your task will be to answer this question in your science journal. Now, I do have another mystery I'd like your help to solve. Here, I have one more fossil to show you, which paleontologists have found in the South Central region. What do you notice about this fossil? I notice that it is definitely not a butterfly. Do you wonder what organism might have formed this fossil, or what the environment was like when this fossil formed? Well, hold on to those questions, because we will learn more about fossils in the next few lessons as we explore the question, what can fossils reveal about a region? Let's review your task for today. Answer the question about the clay fossil models of plastic butterflies.